And welcome, Hard Hats. It's the big guy, Scott Ferrara. It's Mike the Grand Poobah Parazzini. And today we have another iron worker visiting with us. Hamish Dalzell, welcome to the break time.
Thanks very much. Good to be here.
Appreciate you coming on, taking your time. It's Thursday. It's match week. I'm sure you're a very busy guy. You guys obviously going to be traveling to Toronto tomorrow. So we really appreciate that coming in this tight window. But you know what? It's also a win week, right, Mikey? So let's really talk about the match. Yeah, let's talk about the match from last week. Interestingly enough, great day Saturday, last Saturday, like 70 degrees. Yeah, it rained a little bit. And then Sunday, when I got there for the tailgate, it was cold. I was like, it's like 30, 38, 39. And then as the sun kind of came out, warmed everything up, it got into like the 40s and the 50s. So it went from really being a day where you were like, how cold is it going to be, to kind of warming up. I even had to take my sweatshirt off, believe it or not. I mean, although I sweat, in the equator in August, but it was one of those days that turned into a great day of rugby. We had ATL come down. We booed the bus as they entered. The guys didn't know what hit them. It was great. They looked at us like they've never been booed before, which is always fun. And then we got right to it. We came out and we worked really hard against a really good ATL team, who was looking to bounce back from a big loss against Houston. Houston really killing it right now in the Western Conference. But as we know, ATL, one of the best defensive teams in the league, led by former OG Rooster Will Leonard with tackles there. The tackling, really, they tackled very, very well, as they always do. And that's just kind of what they've prided themselves on and built themselves on a team. And what we've built ourselves on is having a great back line that's going to kind of make some moves and do some things and create those open spaces and those plays to create more open space, where you can go ahead and score. But really, I think the try of the match, which everybody picked up, was our buddy Ben Bonasso kicking a ball, and then Ed Vidal kicking a ball, and then Butcher kicking a ball. Everybody was kicking balls, man. Yeah. So Hamish, the question is, have you practiced your kicking for the upcoming match?
Funny enough, my fiance's father, he always says, make sure if you get the opportunity, take a drop kick at goal. So I haven't pulled it out in the game yet, but there's a bit of practice going on in the background. But
that's great. That's awesome.
I was gonna say that seems like it's a forward's favorite thing to do, to practice. I'll show up to practice and I'll see that all the forwards are out, drop kicking the ball. It's like, my brother, you're never gonna kick, and then
conversion rate's like 7%.
Yeah, Butch had that amazing 50-22 that it was gonna go out anyway, and you guys are gonna get the 50-22 even if ATL didn't tap it, and then Ben with that beautiful snatch and steal, and then channeling his inner Butch and kicking it down the field. And that one, I was screaming at the TV because I thought it was going to roll, and it just stopped. It seemed like it stopped dead.
It's so weird.
Oh no!
It was, and the way, because when Eddie kicked it, I went, "Oh, this is going out the back," because he was so close. And he was already in the green zone almost, and he kind of just, I wouldn't even say a chip kick it. He just towed it a little bit, and it kind of squirted out. But it's funny. So a lot of people had some confusion on why the player from ATL was trying to grab the ball on Butch's 50-22. So now we obviously have, if you kick it from the 50, it goes out past the 22. It's the line out to the team who kicked the ball out. So his strategy was, well, if it's going to go out anyway when I touch it, I might as well try and make keep it in play to save the ball. Yes. It makes sense. I think a lot of people don't realize that they don't see a 50-22 happening when it's happening. A lot of people seem to be surprised. So I think there's a lot of confusion when a play like that happens. So it wasn't necessarily a mistake by the ATL player as much as he was trying to use his brain to grab that ball. Listen, that's everybody. If you know the rules, you gotta be aware of them. Yeah. There was no, he wasn't losing anything by trying to keep it in. But yeah, I think, for those of you that don't know Hamish, New Zealander, obviously, we're New York team. If you're not a little bit New Zealand by this point, playing provincial for Canterbury between 2016 and 2018, and again in 2021. You played for Auckland in 2020 and 2022. And then in 2018 and 2022, you also played for the Crusaders, making 2 appearances. And you were actually also with the Panasonic Knights in 2020 before COVID kind of shut everything down there. So, I mean, extensive resume there. Again, it's when I interview guys, Mikey, and I'm sure you feel this too, there's like this thing of like me and Mikey play friggin' club rugby.
Yeah.
Like, it's you talk about all the rugby you guys play, and I understand you guys are professionals, but it still gives me a little bit of a pause to be like, man, like that's a great resume, and now you're playing for us. So obviously, resume gets beefed up. No disrespect to the Crusaders, but real quick, we'll go back to the ATL match. I think one of the things we showed is our grit. ATL had a lot of big plays. They didn't seem to really consistently bang on offense as much as Rooney did, but when ATL had big plays, we also had big plays on defense, holding them short. I think one of those things is we came out of the last two losses where we were making handling errors, and we kind of stopped that a little bit. We still have to work on our lineouts, unfortunately, but that's something that'll be taken care of in practice. I think we've been spoiled the past 3 years by having probably the best lineout in the league, and we got some kinks we got to work out, but that's just life.
It was definitely, I was going to say, first half, definitely, back and forth, but it was great to see, right off the gate, starting that second half, we're down, all of a sudden, Kara Pryor puts us up again, Jack hits the conversion, and, it still was back and forth, and then we start, pulling away a little bit, try here, try there, conversion there,
Unfortunately,
so
we
it
had
was good to
two big injuries early on.
Yeah.
Ed Fidel goes out with a apparent knee injury, and Pago goes out with an apparent ankle injury. I highly doubt they'll be in the lineup in this road trip. We got to get him healthy and right. But guess what? Quinn Nawadi comes in, he scores a try. Kara Pryor coming in, he scores a try. So I mean, it's next man up. It's that game of attrition that we always love. And we come out with the bonus point win, and more importantly, we stop ATL from getting any of their bonus points. They got no bonus points. A lot of people. It's funny how many people talk about winning percentage and things like that. It's lined out in the rules how these points go, and that's why you try and score those 4 tries. That's why if you're going to lose, you're going to lose close and score 4 tries, because those bonus points count for something at the end. I hate other teams' fans complaining about the win percentage. Who gives a shit? Did you get the bonus point, or did you win 7-0, or did you win 28-0? Let me know. And that's the way the league set up. So let's get into our favorite portion, the interview portion. So I'm going to ask Hamish, one of my favorite fans from NOLA and OGs is my girl Susie, and I always like to call Hamish the tree. If you haven't seen Hamish, he's very tall, he's very broad, he looks like a tree when he's up there. And jokingly, she said he looked like a tree with no leaves. I think that was to call attention to his hair. So the question's going to be, Hamish, who has the best hair on the team right now?
Well, I think Quinn's is pretty good at the moment. It's pretty loud. I saw a few photos of him on the photos on the wall last year, and it was pretty short back then. But no, he's definitely grown out that mullet a fair bit. And the other one I was actually thinking of was Brooklyn Hardacre. He for a couple of a few days earlier on in the week, he was rocking a pretty serious mullet. He sort of, cut the top off at the front, and it was just. And then for some reason he just came in the next day, and it was all gone at the back. So he was. I
wish I took a picture of it. I did see it when I was on the pitch doing my post match thing. I did see it, and I was like, should I take a picture of that? And then I'm like, well, I didn't know if it was a kangaroo court thing, and I didn't want to out him if he got in trouble for something. But yeah, he had it shaved all the way down to about below his ears, and then had the long. Super duper party in the back. But yeah, Quinn last year was rocking that typical, I would call it the Bronx tight lineup and fade going, and now he's going with the Canadian
definitely
mullet. He's looking pretty good. But yes, listen, my friend Susie, she's a ball breaker, so you gotta love that.
I was gonna say in your bio that Doug Coyle did, shout out to DJ Coyle Rugby, mentions from New Zealand, sheep farming family. You have some very famous also, rugby cousins as well. Yep. So big, big rugby, big sheep family. Is there a correlation between the two in, New Zealand? Because I feel like you're not the only sheep rugby family. You've got, the Barretts as well. Is there something to that?
I don't know. I think, maybe out on the farm, you have some pretty hard days work, and I guess maybe that sort of correlates through that, work hard, and then you're on the training field, you're working hard, and maybe it comes through in the games or something. But farmers are always nice and strong, so you need to be
running
for
after
rugby,
sheep.
so, yeah.
I was gonna say, running after sheep. Do you have to tackle a
Tackling
sheep
them,
every so often?
for sure. So I don't know, and I guess most farmers are pretty fit. They spend most of the time walking around outside farming, physical work, and you just get natural fitness from that. So it all helps. But lucky to have a big rugby family background. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny because you got like Caleb Geiger. You play with Caleb Geiger, and he's like we would call him corn fed boy out there in the Midwest, and relating it to America, those guys that play football at Iowa and Nebraska and the Big Ten, Michigan, all those guys. There's some corn fed dudes at 350 pounds and they can move. But yeah, it's I think it's interesting because you have guys who are have that street strength because they live in the city, and then you have guys that have that farm strength, and like Phil Harris said, our buddy from New England, farmer strength is real. It is. I mean, if you look at Hamish and Caleb Geiger, it's like, whew. But so speaking,
definitely stronger than me. But
listen,
if we go with that, I'll take it.
I'll out somebody here. So when Caleb showed up in 2021 for the last couple weeks of the season as injury cover, the story I was told by somebody, and I won't name names, everybody was doing bench press for Ollie, and everybody was getting it up, and they did all their bench press, and then Caleb went and he put 2 more 45s on each side, and on top of whatever they had there, and started repping it out, and the guy said, "I'm out of a job."
Yeah,
that's exactly. So you can imagine Caleb coming in, and King Kong himself. We would like to call him the baby gorilla, putting up a ton of weight. But listen, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So speaking of your stature, obviously, I'm sure you are a foodie a little bit. What is your comfort food?
The pizza in New York's definitely been a favorite of mine so far. Definitely every sort of pizza place I walk past, I'm like, oh, I wonder what the slices are like in there. So my weight's gone up by a couple of kilos since I've been here. So definitely been eating well. I wouldn't shy away from a wee bowl of ice cream at night either. So
so you're not on the Dillett Fawcett strict diet.
No.
Listen, you gotta have fun. Listen, you gotta have fun, and how tall are you?
Exactly. I'm 6'7".
Exactly. So that my point being is you distribute that weight a little better than me at 5'10". So you can have that bowl of ice cream that I shouldn't be having, right, Mikey?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I was gonna say, now the two-parter kind of clearly you're Kiwi. How has it been, integrating with the other Kiwis on the team? And then is it a requirement for you as a Kiwi to have been, a fan of The Crowd Goes Wild before you came and joined Rugby New York?
Yeah, definitely used to watch The Crowd Goes Wild back in New Zealand a lot. Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah. Used to love the big hits and whatnot on there, but yeah.
So then how has integrating been with the other Kiwis on the team?
Oh, I knew obviously a few of them, playing against them in NPC and stuff, but they're a great bunch of blokes, and I think there's like 12 of us or something. So we definitely got a good crew, but I've even really enjoyed getting to know the boys that were here from Australia, Benja Bonasso from Argentina, and the New York boys are outstanding as well. So great bunch of lads.
Oh man, it's funny the conglomeration of everybody coming in together to play on this team, and you love to see it. And like you said, the integration is easy for you because you have some familiar faces, but also it's those guys like Johnny Powers who just make you laugh every time you talk to them.
Exactly.
But so my next question, now this is an important one, very important. You're getting on a flight tomorrow to go to Toronto. One guy you will not sleep with in your room on an away trip. Who's it going to be?
Well, the Masters is on at the moment, so I spent most of the day watching that, and yeah, me and Sammy Windsor really enjoy our golf. So I'm sure last time we were actually roomed together and all we could do was watch the Golf Channel. So I don't know if it's going to be good for the game if we're up all night watching golf, but it'd be a positive thing to be with him. But no, I'm not sure about a negative to be with someone. Yeah.
It's funny, because he's being diplomatic because he realizes the guys he doesn't want to be in the same room with are the same guys that lift him every match and can drop him. I know for a fact he's going, whoever, all those fat props who have sleep apnea and snore, I don't want to be in the same room with him. That's what he's thinking, but he's not going to say it, Mikey.
Yeah, the last thing you want is, to end up like, Doctor Strange being, astral projected when you get dropped in a line out. So I've seen it happen. It's not great. So
no, not a nice place to fall from.
Yeah, no,
not at all.
This is one that we've asked every single, Rugby New York player. Another two-parter. Plain cleats or flashy cleats, and then high socks or short socks.
Yeah, my cleats are, well, I sort of wear studs to get the scrums going forward. But yeah, they're pretty plain really. What are they, Essex? And no, they're just black and silver. I think they're pretty plain. And I think for the socks, I'm more of a bit of an in-between. I don't really like them all the way up, but down looks a little bit scruffy. So sort of mid-calf is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, if they make socks that fit his long legs. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, so you said you studs. So are you wearing metal studs then too?
Yep. I think most of the pictures over here are artificial, so you can easily wear sort of 16 mil studs, but it's nice surfaces to play on compared to a few back in New Zealand where you're always wearing 21 mil studs to try and get some grip. But the pace of the game is pretty quick over here because the turfs are so good.
Yep. And well, here's the thing. Before I get to the next question, tell Tay Waldron to get better studs. That dude be slipping all the time. Yeah. I mean, he's slipping and sliding all over the pitch. It's like a cartoon. Like his legs are running faster than his body, and he just boom goes down. It was funny. We were talking about that because back in Notre Dame versus USC in football is a big deal. And when USC had these really fast teams, Notre Dame wouldn't cut the grass the week before the game, so the grass was really tall to try and slow down the other team running, and that was an effective tactic, believe it or not, before we had all this turf. But down to my next question, again, very important question. You have to buy with your own money a kit from another team. Can't be a Rooney kit. Has to be another team in the MLR. What are you spending your money on?
Oh, not too sure actually. It's a hard one. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to Canada before, so I'm looking forward to going there this weekend. I don't know. Canada and New Zealand, I don't know. Everyone sort of talks about wanting to go to Canada and stuff. So, maybe it's the Toronto kit, but.
Hey, listen, and if they're wearing their new kit, you can bid on their kit. Or no, you can't. The bidding's over. Shit.
Yep.
But it was a great kit. It was that it's like a lightning deal. It looks really cool, to be quite honest. It was in my top 4 kits of the city kits this year, but it was really cool. So I would suggest if you could snag one off a guy, especially since you're bigger and tougher, so you find a little like the reserve scrummy and just grab it off of him as you're leaving.
Well, it wouldn't be much good for me to wear it after that. It'd be a bit small.
Yeah, but I mean, you wear it around the house. You're not gonna wear it during a match. Like, come on, but yeah, no, those are Toronto kits. Just the blue and white kits are always nice too. They're arrow kits, and and they love to hide arrows and hidden features there, which is always a nice thing to do. Yeah. Philip, free jacks for the win. Not even close. I New York and Chicago, I think, were my top 2. Chicago had that whole Bulls thing going on, and New York has that subway tile.
I was gonna say my top kit was the DC kit with the what's it called?
I like the cherry blossoms, but they did the cherry blossoms last year in a white that I thought looked better. But whatever, beggars can't be choosers. It's my team. That's cool.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I had a good question lined up in my head, but of course, per usual, it's escaped me. I was gonna say, all right, so you're playing a game of backyard rugby. Who is of all the people that you have played rugby with, who is your first pick?
Of everyone I've played with.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, I had a game for Canterbury, and it was a game of three halves with Otago, and it was versus the All Blacks. And it was pretty exciting. Obviously, everyone wanted to play against the All Blacks, and yeah, I went out there flying around trying to get into it, and Liam Squire just came and absolutely ran me over, and I got sort of hit in the head and went flying backwards, and my head hit the ground as well as hitting his sort of hip or something like that, and I was a bit dazed, and got up from that one, and the doctor just came over and pulled me straight off, and I was just that keen to carry on. I was like, there's no way I'm only lasting 5 minutes against the All Blacks, but managed to tackle Bowden Barrett, so I was quite happy with that one. But yeah, I mean, I could choose any one of the All Blacks, but Liam Squire used to be a bit of a beast, and he put a good one on me, so maybe it's someone like that.
I was gonna say
that's great.
If memory serves me, I might remember that game, and they feel like they got that game in because Sonny Bill Williams had a red card, and or was on a suspension, and they had to put an extra game in to make him eligible or something. There was like some sneakiness around that
some loophole,
some pull. That's a game that he would have qualified for, but he couldn't play for it. But
oh God,
yeah,
that's typical Southern Hemisphere rugby. In my opinion,
trying to cheat everyone.
Just throw something on the schedule. But I love that one. All right, so here's another one. So we know who actually deals with the music in practice, but you get to pick one song on a practice day. What song are you picking?
I'm not really sure actually. I don't know. I do love a bit of grime, a bit of drum and bass and stuff. So I don't know. There's this one called Double Tap by Quantum, but yeah, random as song. But I was in a long drive competition for golf back in New Zealand before I came here, and we had to have a walkout song. So yeah, that was on for that one. So it got me pumped up.
That's great. I love that.
Awesome. You've now alluded to your golf prowess or your love of golf twice.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe I shouldn't keep going on about golf, but yeah.
No, not at all. Yeah. I was going to say I feel like golf.
Listen, you're not the first. You're not the first guy between Dylan and Brendan and. I mean, we've had a lot of golfers for some reason. I don't know why you guys like golf. But
I love golf. Yeah. I feel like golf and rugby somehow goes hand in hand.
Hate golf.
I love it.
I fucking hate it.
Have you been able?
The amount of money I spend on balls is ridiculous.
Have you been able to go out and either? I think didn't you guys go as a team to Top Golf? But have you or did a simulator together? Is there any have you been able to go out and play a little bit or no?
Yeah, we went to the simulator the other day. It was pretty good. In the bye week, I actually went to Phoenix, and we had a week there and managed to get out on a course out there. I went and had a look at the stadium course at TPC Scottsdale as well. But it was a bit expensive to try and jump on there. But that was a bit of a highlight. Yeah.
Nice.
Listen, I can't. I fucking. So I'll tell you guys a good one. This is the rugby player in me. So right by Citi Field, back then it was Shea Stadium in Queens. There's like a par 3 pitch and putt, right? So I bring my entire golf bag with just my pitching wedge and my putter. And my buddies are making fun of me. And they're like, duh. So after you go down the first hole, there's the marshal stays at the first hole to give you a tee time. And you could get tee times up until like 2 a.m. We had like a midnight tee time. We get to the first hole, we do everything, and they're just constantly on me. We get to the second hole, and as soon as my buddy's in his backswing, I just go and crack open my first beer because I had about 18 beers in that goddamn bag, and they all started. Oh, I want a beer now. I was like, none of you get the freaking beer anymore, just because I'm smarter than all of you. Yeah, they still tell me about that too. This was like 12 years ago. They still talk to me about that one. But so really quick, the final question we like to ask the guys is.
What's one goal that you have for Hamish Dalzell for this season?
I think it's always to win a title. I know Rugby New York did it last year, and extremely proud of that. To go back to back would be the ultimate goal, I think. So we're all working pretty hard towards it, and it's definitely front and center throughout the week. So we're always trying to stack moments and stack games, and that would be the big one. Yeah.
Yep, I hear that. So real quick, we're going to go over your guys, like we mentioned several times, you guys are in Toronto, 4 p.m. on Saturday. Check out, we have the official watch party at Stout NYC at Penn Station starting at 3 o'clock. Head over there. Unfortunately, the big guy, it's Easter, as Mikey knows. I'll be cooking a lot. Easter's a big for the Italians, so I'll be cooking and baking a lot. So unfortunately, I won't be there Saturday. But I know Mikey Rodriguez and Rob Rorty and a bunch of the guys are going to be there Saturday from the Hard Hats. So go hang out with them as Rooney takes on Toronto. Now, Toronto, last week, unfortunately, going into Dallas, had 13 players on their injured reserve, which is insane. Like I hear that, and it's terrible news. You never want to hear people getting hurt, and especially guys, like Nick Benn, their winger. He's missing the rest of the season with a shoulder injury, which is terrible. But Toronto recently did sign 2 guys, and one of them they desperately needed in the Canadian international Peter Nelson at fly half, because at this point they actually ran out of fly halves, believe it or not. When they played us at home, I believe the player wearing the 10 jersey had never really played 10 in a professional competition. And that's and then we had a catastrophic injury with one of their wingers about 20 minutes into the match. So I mean, Toronto's down. But like I said, they signed Peter Nelson, and then they also signed in English. What was he? He was a lock, I think. What the hell is his name? Hold on, I'm looking. Shea Carey. Bring guys in over to bolster their roster that they really need. But that doesn't mean we're not going to kick their ass. I do think we are better than them up front. I do think we could sort out our line-out issues. There's an interesting note on Toronto. There's something like they're 79.3% win percentage at home versus whatever the opposite is away, like 33 or 31, 29 or whatever. So they play really hard at home. And here's the other thing, Hamish, and this is something I always believe in. It's their first home match. Their fans have been waiting for Toronto to come back home, and they're going to want to punch you in the mouth. They're like an animal backed in the corner with a 1-5 record. They have absolutely nothing to lose by throwing the book at you guys. And that's not saying you guys aren't going to take it, but I truly believe the first 20 minutes is going to be very telling, because they're going to want to come out and punch you guys in the mouth and really stall you on offense and really, make you work on defense. The one thing me and Mike always talk about, which is always in the Toronto game plan, is they have a really aggressive kick chase, and they love to kick. And I mean, not only kick, they love to chase, and they love to counter kick. So they'll get the ball, they'll see you guys are out of position, counter kick, and it usually works out in their favor. So I think that's one of the things that we always have to look at when we're looking at the Toronto Arrows. I mean, not necessarily something that Hamish needs to work on. I mean, how many kicked balls are you really going to field at that point because you're chasing? But just have to, talk about it, Mikey. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. I think you hit everything. You hit everything right there. This is their first home game. They're coming out to play. They've got issues with injuries and stuff like that, but you can never count them out. And they'll definitely play hard at home. So we really need to bring it.
Absolutely. And like we said with that Peterson signing, I mean, he can really slot some. I think he's been playing in France the past 3 years, and has gotten a bunch of playing time in D2. And really that's I'll go back to the New England loss. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts where we were giving up a penalty, and it was in the range for New England to kick a penalty, and slotting those conversions, and it added up and added up and added up. And that's something we need to not happen, with Toronto's, and clean up those errors, especially in front of the sticks when it's a tight match. Mikey, let's go with score predictions real quick.
I have it on the low end. I say, Rugby New York by 5. Even though the first game we played was a blowout, this is their first home match. They're definitely going to bring the heat. And I always get in trouble whenever I do double-digit, victories for Rugby New York. It ends up going absolutely fucking horrible. So I'll pick a Rugby New York win, and Rugby New York by 5.
So I'm going to say, I think Rugby New York by 5 is good. I think Rugby New York -5 is a good score. I think that's also given 3 points to the Arrows,
Yep.
So really, for the home field advantage. So really -8 if you take away the home field advantage. And yep, Jack was the spark. We needed a fly half. Yeah. And also what I like to see, and I think we talked about it last week, was Connor Buckley playing a little more of the ball in hand. We know he can get the ball out. We know he can kick the ball, but he made some moves yesterday to kind of in those A gaps where the ball wasn't. After a couple of those times, we phased out and brought it out, and phased out and brought it out. There was a couple times Connor looked, saw the hole, just took it. And yes, is it the best for your scrummy to always take the ball like that up the middle where there's big guys like Hamish there to tackle him? No, but Connor's small enough where he can kind of make guys miss and even take a beating a little bit. And I think that's what was another spark. And I'm glad you agree with me, the little bit of knowledge of rugby I have. But anyway, guys, remember, go out to Stout NYC at Penn Station for our official watch party. Those are our official watch party partners. I have a great time when I'm going out there. They keep using my picture for me and Mike Rodriguez's picture for their promo. I look fat as a house. It's ridiculous. So, I'm going to pop whatever photographer's there next time and be like, don't fucking take pictures of me because I look fat as shit. But besides that, have fun, have a good time. Go out, support our boys at the official watch party. I'm the big guy.
I was going to say, I got one more announcement. May 7th, Capital District, mark your calendars. Albany Bootleggers are going down. Saratoga Rugby Club is going down. We got a group rate. We're all going to head on down and watch, Rugby New York take on NOLA. So that's a month away. Mark it down in your calendars. Let's go.
Don't forget, Excelsior Pub in Albany, New York is the official watch party home for those guys in the Empire District. Hamish, again, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Mike. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Oh, and I wanted to say this real quick. The last guy we had on cracked into the starting lineup, although Hamish is also the starting lock, I think, just about anywhere in the league, much less the team. But we'll see if he's in the starting lineup this week. But again, Hamish, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Mikey, you're already getting shit about damn time.
Yep.
Hard hats, I appreciate you. Me and Mikey will be here for the pregame show at 3:30, always 30 minutes before kickoff. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you at the